everybody, and welcome to Podcast, the Motion Picture, and the Fury Road, where all things are shiny and chrome and new. I gotta say this, witness me! Ah!
I don't think he thought through the effect that it would have on his audio.
Did it not work?
Well, we saw you.
We saw
Where
it.
did
You
it
just didn't hear it.
Where did the audio cut?
About 0.5 seconds into the scream.
Into the scream at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you at least got the build-up?
We
yeah.
heard
No,
the
our,
witness.
our, our YouTube watchers are gonna love it.
Good, okay, all right. I'm gonna chop, I think, a little bit for the first time I ever edit the podcast in a way. All right, so anyway, yeah, Podcast, the Motion Picture, here we are. Mad Max and the Fury Road. Do you guys think this movie was furious enough or not furious at all?
I love it. Personally, I love this movie. I bought it when it first came out on Amazon Prime. I've watched it probably like 15 times. I usually watch it at least once a year. I didn't realize it's been 10 years since the movie came out, but I absolutely love the movie. It's one of my favorites.
I think I watched it just last summer. I think when we picked back up the podcast again last summer, it actually was one of the first movies I had watched at the very least, and it was great seeing it again then after so long, and after less than a year, still just as sweet. It did not really lose any value having a rewatch in it, and that's something pretty cool about a movie.
I had not seen it in quite some time. I've seen it multiple times, but I'd like to share something with the group because I knew this existed. So I searched through my messages. There's an old group chat called Intellectuals that comprised of me, Reed LaRock, and Cole Brainerd. On the date December 5th, 2019 at 7:11 p.m., I wrote, I'm in my night class, which was American Popular Music with Dr. Heidi Wick, shout out, making a top 10 movies of the decade list. I've worked on it for an hour and a half, and I've narrowed it down to 50 movies. And then I texted it like 20 minutes later, all right, here's my list. Number one, I had Whiplash. And number two, I had Mad Max Fury Road. So we've now covered what 19-year-old me thought were the two greatest movies of the 2010s.
All
So,
right, we're on it, man.
Yeah.
Some things just don't change.
Yeah. Which is to say, I also enjoy this movie a lot.
I thought that was which is to say.
Yeah, that is which that I was to saying.
This is just one of those most awesome movies ever made. Just rewatching it, it's just so shockingly, absurdly cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
No.
There hasn't been anything like it until I'm assuming Furiosa.
Right.
I think the big thing with it is the lack of CGI. I know the big thing that George Miller wanted to do was like one, they created all of these cars. They hand built every single vehicle that is in the show. If you see a vehicle in that movie, it was hand built by them. Everything ran, everything drove, everything turned. It was literally a fully functioning car or tank, whatever they wanted to make. So that's a huge part of it is they did all their own stunts. There was very little CGI. Even the giant explosion of the semi truck at the end is all real. I think that's a huge proponent of why the movie is so great is it's all real. It's not, there's no fakeness to it. All the actors' reactions to everything is real and genuine.
I'll say a lot of it is real, but there is a little ditty I like to call movie magic in the works here. And there's also something George Miller, I think, pushed very heavily into, which is the marketability of this movie. And while on a technical level, so much of it is practical effect after practical effect, a ton of little bits of the work for this is also based on the backs of using CGI to compile the different practical effects. You think about the Lancer boys swinging away on the big, huge poles and whatnot. That's real, and they're doing that. But those poles aren't attached to the cars. Those are filmed separately, and then later on, they can be edited onto the cars themselves. Not only that, but as we're having these different things, of course, in the background, as you can imagine, there's a lot of different work being done to generate imagery in the background. That's normal. That's really small, nonchalant when it comes to big blockbuster movies these days. But atop of that is a lot of the different bits of driving, even in this movie, while they're all real cars and whatnot. A good chunk of the time, they're actually put up on stages. And so that way they can create background generations of moving scenery and whatnot, so they can, no matter what time of day, no matter the weather, be on a set filming the stuff. So there's actually is a ton of different CGI on there. Now to what percentage, I don't know. And I'm not trying to undermine George Miller saying that it's all practical effects, but not. It is grand majority practical effects. It is for a 2015 movie after what was like 15 years of everybody making a movie thinking, I'm the guy that's going to do CGI and do it right. So I'm going to make everything CGI. George Miller was like a light in the dark, and I think he kind of gave a breath of fresh air to movies.
Well, you have to think too, like if it's 100% CGI or 100% practical, it wouldn't matter if the product wasn't amazing, and it is. Like the world of Max Fury Road is just completely one of a kind. Like you think post-apocalyptic, and we've seen that a billion times. This is the movie that makes you like scared of it. Like if this was the world I had to live in, I would just simply not do it. You know, I couldn't make it in George Miller's vision of a dystopian landscape. It's too hardcore. It's too cool. I
Hey,
would just die. So like this movie gives me anxiety because of the world he created is just so balls to the wall, freaking insane all the time. Every single detail of character design, vehicle design, fucking landscapes, the way nighttime looks in this movie is like insane to me. Just everything about it is beautiful and scary, and the world is amazing. And there's no other movie with that.
I wanted to say I hate dystopian movies. I hate post-apocalyptic movies. I don't hate them all. I don't hate them all, but I don't really love them. Don't like to go to them. They're the one type of movie that actually do like give a big effect to me. Normally movies don't affect me. They just depress the heck out of me seeing torn up Earth. I just hate that. This movie, however, I will say I was watching it. I watched it last night. I'm watching it, and I was like, you know what? I actually wouldn't mind being here. This is
No,
pretty
you'd
rad.
thrive. I think we're
Dude,
just different
we
people.
are. We
Yeah.
are. This is our one very big different thing. You
Yeah.
you wouldn't do this, and I'd love it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd care to be necessarily in a Morton Joe or I don't remember what the name of Chris Hemsworth's guy is here. You
I
remember
have
it from
yet to see Furiosa. I
Oh
haven't seen it
man.
yet. Um,
Gotta see it.
but I will be watching that tomorrow. It's on HBO Max, so I will be watching that tomorrow.
I'd like to think I could end up being like I don't know. I think I got a little bit of Praetorian Jack energy in me. Like I think I got, like I'm not really a good guy per se. Like I'm still blending in with the trying not to get killed by the people with the most power, but like, I'm not like evil. You know, got to do what you got to
So
do.
to go back to what Noah was saying about how it even looked so great when it was nighttime. When this movie first came out, I remember I geeked out hard on it and I was trying to watch every video on YouTube possible. And I ended up finding a guy who did a deep dive into it, talking about how they tried to originally film this in back in like 2000. They wanted to film it in 2000 in Australia, and at the time, Australia had a huge rain come in, and so the desert, instead of being desert, was all flower. So they decided to shoot it in Iraq, but then the Iraq War started, and
Bad timing.
it was like
That'll
10
Yeah.
to 15 years. Mel Gibson got too old, and then he went crazy. Like there was just setback after setback after setback, and
I like that
um
Mel Gibson becoming this huge open anti-Semite. That's just a setback to Mad Max. I agree.
yeah,
It's a pretty big setback.
and the one thing he talked about was in the interviews by George Luke or not George Lucas, George
George
Miller.
Lucas.
um, they couldn't get the right shots during actual nighttime, so they filmed everything during the day and just altered the color of the screens. So you can see like on Furiosa's head when she's got the black forehead paint, you'll see there's shots where it's like her forehead is really shiny, or you'll see glinting off of the trucks, and it's not. And the way they like try to say it is there's always like a full moon somewhere um in the sky, but it's just because they're filming during the day and they altered the screen, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is cool, and it looks beautiful. So I kind of wish maybe more movies would try that because many movies when they shoot at night, you just can't see what the hell's going on. So I'd much prefer this way
Like
of
Game of
doing things.
Thrones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say watching it, was trying to, I try to figure out because we've done these before, we know our stuff. Not that we've ever done a Mad Max level movie. Anyway, I will say we've done a similar bit of effect. It really does, I think, translate pretty simply to like, you film it with the lighting and then you just shift all the coloring and you just have to go into your editing and recolor everything. We've done that for the Sweetest Treat movie in the final scenes. Like things turn very purple, I remember. It's been so long, but things turn purple. Like we do a very similar thing. And maybe it's a little influential, but I really do like it. I think about examples of movies. One very good example about filming at nighttime and the difficulties it presents is as a matter of fact, speaking of George Lucas, what's his old movie about the cars racing up and down the street? American Graffiti. Do you
Mm,
guys remember? I think they had like four different attempts at filming at night. Like Lucas had like four different versions. I think he had what ambient lighting, which is where you're just out filming and whatever you get. And I think they had to keep trying to refilm things day after day in the middle of the night because they weren't getting the right light. I think they did set work. I think they did film in the day and then they like black and whited the movie then, but then they like used a blue and white bit of filtering, I think. I forget if there was a fourth one, but I know there were about those three. I always go back to thinking about that in terms of in a single movie, you can successfully make one and yet use a ton of different techniques, and nobody really is going to give too much of a hoot. So, yeah.
I think my one thing that I really like about these movies is just the actual script and the writing. Um, and I have yet to actually see the original three. I know Cole keeps telling me that I absolutely have to because they're great. Um, but the one thing I like about it is in the first one, it's just chaos. It's not really a like it's just them surviving. In the second one, you're starting to see like they're starting to build cities. In the third one, there's actual communication, and now in the fourth one, there's full on like giant cities working together to survive. You have the Bullet Farm, you have Gastown, you have the Citadel, all that specialize in their own thing. But you can see because it's the same director having the same vision of his universe that is you can see where he started to now that society has as crazy and terrible as it is has started to at least somewhat restore itself, and now people are working together. It's crazies and psychopaths, but you can see that it is there now.
I too have never seen those original three movies, and
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
yeah, yeah. No, you're not alone, man. Coming into this, when I first watched the Mad Max Fury Road movie, I was just like, this is the introduction to this world, like this A plus 5-star movie, and like this
Yeah.
is the fourth one out of this. Like, holy cow, what a way to make some movies. Um, Last week, Noah, what did we do? Mission Impossible. Um, we talked about how it's such a stretch of a franchise from what 1996 to now
And now,
2025,
yeah.
about what 29 years. Like Mad Max is pretty similar. They had a
Yeah.
huge gap. Nobody even was really asking for a Mad Max movie. I don't think it just was suddenly George Miller was like, "Let's do this."
Yeah.
They did.
And then it just blew up. I mean, we got Furiosa. Apparently there's a Furiosa 2 in the works. I have no idea what that one would be because I haven't seen the first one, but it does seem like he kind of revived the Mad Max just in general. He's got Tom Hardy now, so he's got a younger actor who can continue to make these movies. Charlize Theron is also, and Anna Taylor Joy are both younger actresses, so they can continue to play these characters. So it'll be good.
I saw a trailer for something called Mobland at the gym earlier. and it's got Tom Hardy in it. And I don't know if it's natural or makeup, but he's got a gray beard in this trailer I saw. And Tom Hardy is, you say he's young, and I don't want to slight anybody out there who's above 40. Tom Hardy is 47 years old now. So they
So
better
old.
get to work on making some more of these things because, you can only jump off a truck so many times.
How old is George
I mean,
Miller?
How old
He's
is
got to be
George
80.
Miller?
You
He's an
say
old
that.
man.
You say that, but then how old is Tom Cruise? And that dude's still doing. He still does his own
62.
stunts.
Hey, it's because you got these guys that are so passionate and so caring, and they're gonna work till they drop. Is kind of, I feel like, the attitude. Because I mean, like, seriously, who comes back after like 30 years after making the last one is like, let's do a fourth one, and then makes arguably his best movie ever.
It's not
Like,
even arguable. Like George Miller deserves all the credit in the world. This is one of the greatest like directorial feats ever. Like straight up.
George Miller is 80 years old now.
Yeah.
it's a,
What other? Because besides the Mad Max series, what other big projects of note has he done? I have no idea.
Didn't he do Happy Feet?
No
Yes.
way.
Yes, he did. That's
Holy
right. Yes,
cow.
he did.
I
Yeah,
like,
I
and other
forgot
than
about
that,
that.
I really
Alright.
don't know.
sorry,
He's an artist.
second best movie in his filmography.
Arguably.
Yeah.
It's 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
Yeah,
do we do
he's,
Happy Feet next week?
I think so. I will say
Just
he
do the
was
George
also a
Miller
producer on
trilogy.
Happy Feet too. Yeah, he does a lot of just random movies and the Mad Maxes, and that's about it.
I think the Mad Max is definitely his baby. It's the one that
Yeah.
he created from scratch.
It's a good thing to have. Would you guys, if you were all big famous directors, would you rather have the lifestyle of a George Miller where you have this one big thing, or would you rather be like I don't want to go too big here. I don't know. Would you rather be like a J.J. Abrams where you're working on a ton of different IPs?
I would rather work consistently. I wouldn't want to be JJ and just hop from franchise to franchise, but I'd like to have a movie out every 3 years, part of me, I don't know. That's what I would want. Just obviously not taking anything away from what George Miller does, but
Yeah.
there is something cool like Robert Zemeckis or not, Spielberg did it. I'm not saying I'd be Steven Spielberg, but there is like Steven Soderbergh puts out a movie every 3 years. Like that's kind of the level I'd want to be on. Just some hit, some miss. M. Night Shyamalan style,
Oh, yeah.
Mm,
I don't know about that. You
It
other
is
fellas?
cool. It's cool that he has like a singular vision. Because the only other guy that I could think that has so much creative control over his own like franchise was George Lucas.
Yeah.
Then he sold it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anyone else that has like a franchise that it's just like, this is mine. I've made every one of them. I've been involved in all of these, and this is how it's going to be. So I actually really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it's maybe I don't know the history of like the production besides like Fury Road taking a long time. I don't know why there was such a long time between Fury Road and Furiosa, considering how popular it was. And so far,
Well,
like I don't even know where the franchise is going to go from here.
wasn't Fury Road was a box office bomb, I think, right? Am I wrong about that?
No, they made a ton of money. It wasn't like on terms of Endgame, but it was a very
I thought it
popular
like
movie.
flopped, and then like obviously everyone that saw it loved it, but I don't know. I remember it like not crushing the box office. I
I mean, it's
I
been
could be
10
wrong.
years.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but
Even Furiosa, I think, like didn't
that
do all
didn't do
that
well.
well.
I don't know about
I think that goes
Furiosa.
back to what Cole said is, it was so long that the hype kind of died down for it, like it was, I remember when the trailers were coming, I was like, oh yeah, that's a whole film series, isn't it?
Right.
And then that was kind of it, I think the hype of Mad Max had kind of died down.
Yeah, the budget for the movie Mad Max Fury Road was $150 million, and worldwide opening weekend it made $380 million. So I'd say it was a big success.
So
I
at
would
least
count
That
that.
was its
doubled.
opening weekend.
I think so.
Yeah.
It says, but that's worldwide. It says worldwide. Maybe Maybe
Huh.
I'm wrong here. This is
Okay. Well, I think like
Still.
the thing is you're supposed to make 2.5 times your money
Right.
back for it to be like a success, right?
That sounds right.
So yeah.
You double the value for marketing, I think, is what it is. So if it costs
Yep.
150 million, you have to spend 150 million for marketing too.
I think
Yep.
they got lucky because they had made all like 80% of the props, 80% of the vehicles and everything in 2000, like 1998 to like 2000. They had created everything and then it all got shut down, but they never destroyed anything. They kept everything because George Miller knew that he wanted to create this. So I feel like that was probably because 150 million is not that much money for a movie of that scale, that many explosions, that many cars,
Yep.
just everything that goes into that type of movie. I'm expecting to be above 200 million, maybe even into the 300.
I want to self-correct myself here before we get away from it. The worldwide, that's where it's at now. That's not where it opened. Sorry about that. I don't follow box offices. So anyway, opening weekend it made about 45 million, next 24 million, next 31 million. So it took time and
Well, that's worth mentioning too. It made more in its third week than its second week, and that never happens. And that just goes to show, like, everyone that saw it was like, "Hey, dude, go see this movie," and it had staying power. But
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing. Like, obviously, Mad Max is a franchise, but like, it's not a mainstream franchise. You know, it's a really singular thing. My parents haven't seen Mad Max. You know, most of my friends probably haven't heard of Mad Max.
I've
It's
heard of
like
Mad
it's a
Max.
movie lovers franchise. You know.
That original Mad Max, it didn't even come out in the United States like till much
Yeah.
later. Like,
Yeah.
because it was just from Australia or whatever, just this cheap B movie. And then when they were like looking for distribution in the United States for Mad Max 2, they had to change the name to The Road Warrior so that it could actually do numbers because no one had ever seen the first one. So that's why.
Yeah, I like that. Mad Max is this huge, intense thing that this world they build up and all these creative spots, the Bullet Farm and the Citadel. Not those aren't already there, but just really cool sets. I love that the original Mad Max movie is just let's go to Australia and drive some muscle cars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I have seen the first Mad Max. I don't remember
Break
it
out the
super
leather.
well, but I know there's a shot where you see a man for real get hit in the head with a tire flying at like super high speeds. That's what I remember from it.
That's just candid camera too. That wasn't even supposed to be in the film.
Yeah.
That guy died.
That guy either died or got like CTE. Like,
that man was George Miller.
Yeah.
It was actually a comedy when they started.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool connection. The man who plays Immortan Joe in Fury Road played the villain in the original Mad Max. So it's the same actor.
That's crazy.
Like 30 years, 35 years later.
Yeah. One of the things that blew my mind, you guys blew my mind, I think, already on this podcast once before, talking about the guy who plays Immortan Joe in Mad Max Fury Road died. He's dead in real life. And so to get him this reprisal of a role for a guy who's no longer alive, they had cast somebody else. I think I watched Furiosa. I think I watched it maybe it was even twice. I might be BSing, but I know I watched it once, and you guys said that's a different guy. And I was like, no, that's the same guy. Like, what are you talking about? Spot on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's stellar. Like, imagine you're watching, I don't know, imagine you were watching Return of the Jedi, and they're like, yeah, this is actually it's actually Kevin Costner as Han Solo. It's like, what? No. Same guy.
I love the way spoilers, guys. I love the way they kill Immortan Joe in this movie.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yes. Especially like I said, I haven't seen the Furiosa yet, but I remember, like I said, when it came out, I had to watch every video. So it was like you didn't actually know Furiosa's full backstory, but you knew enough of it to understand. Like, you understand that she was taken as a child, was tried to make, or Immortan Joe wanted her to be one of his wives, but she was sterile. So he basically just tortured her for years until she got her chance to escape. That was the original George Miller's story for Furiosa. I don't know if they changed it in the new movie, but I do know that was the original story for Furiosa with her, why she was trying to escape, why she hates him so much. Yeah.
It's a good point because, like, well, that death is so awesome for one, just ripping his face off.
Yeah.
Like, it's so sick. But,
Yeah.
like, it's a good point because this isn't Mad Max's movie. It's named Mad Max, but this is Furiosa's
You're
story.
so
She's
right,
the
dude.
one. She's the one who has the arc. She kills the villain. I mean, Max is fighting that big dude. He's hitting him in the face with that propane tank.
Yeah,
Like,
over and
he's not
over.
even. He's literally not a part of like that
Rictus.
big thing. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
totally, it's everyone else's movie, and Max is just the protagonist. He's just
Yeah.
there because the
And
movie.
Tom Hardy is phenomenal in that role, but absolutely,
Yes.
it's
Holy-
not his movie.
You've always used a phrase when it comes to certain people. You like to use in certain comedy appraisals, the straight man, like Jason Bateman's always playing the straight man. In this kind of a setting, Tom Hardy's like the straight man of the story, in that he just is like swept up into this big epic of the Fury Road. Like he just is in it. He's stuck in it. He can't get out of it. Like I would go so far, he's a hero in a way. He does a lot of good things, but like he's also like a little bit of doesn't care. Like,
Yeah.
right as soon as he gets through the women and he gets in the truck and the truck shuts off and Furiosa says, there's a kill switch and I'm the only one who knows how to do it. And he just sits in his seat and is like, all right, we'll wait for them to get here. I don't care. It's over. I'm done.
I do think he is a great character. Like,
Yeah.
you mentioned he's kind of a hero. I think he is. He has a line where he's like, "You can't hope here," but like even like he sees the people he let down, they flash before him and stuff. He still helps those girls when he doesn't necessarily have to. Like he is kind of a hero. He is a good guy, but he's a Tom Hardy lizard eating badass good guy, and I like that a lot. And one of my favorite moments in this movie is when like one of the wives like climbs back on the truck and he like looks out the window and he's like gives like a tiny little thumbs up. It's such a nice moment in an otherwise not very funny movie. So yeah.
There's the two scenes I love is the beginning when like you guys had mentioned when he's just sitting there, then we wait. Like they just had a whole big fight. They're all pissed at each other. They're ready to kill each other. And then they get to the rock pile where they're trying to dump they're literally trying to kill each other. And then they get to the where they're supposed to drop the fuel. And then they start getting shot at, and it's just instantaneous. They are helping each other. They're loading guns for each other. They're watching each other's back because they understand like this is not about like there can't be petty rivalries in the wasteland. It's instantaneous. This is for survival. We are now a team.
Yep.
Yeah. Furiosa's character's
there's
ability.
just no talking. They just instantly know.
Her ability to just kind of like hand over the trust to Tom Hardy is like it's great because like it's not just this help pat me on the back, I'll pat you on the back, maybe a little bit, but it's very much like one of the girls could drive the truck forward. Like any one of them, it doesn't have to be Tom Hardy, but she does trust that, yeah, this big guy is fine. Like he's not an evil.
Fool.
Something I wanted to talk about this movie is a lot of people like to say it's the least feminine friendly feminism movie that ever femininity it. And I always think that's a terrible thing because it's not even a word. But anyway, I have a little bit of a spiel here from Kirsten Wursel, the UC Berkeley professor of film. Look at that, citations of a person. She has the view that this movie, while it is marketed a little bit as this kind of a feminism story of these women getting across the wasteland and getting out of the situation and coming out on top, it's really not a feminism friendly movie in that all these things kind of point back to women being mothers in a story. And I wanted to say that's not the thing I really care to talk about because she has points there and she's wrong here and there. Anyway, I wanted to bring up 2015 movie. I think this movie came out at a time where this big modern day neo-feminism movement that a lot of movies nowadays kind of have not fallen into, but have kind of stepped into. I think this was kind of the one that I don't know, I'd say it was a defining movie in that it was done so well to just include women in roles and not like make some big fuss or deal out of it. Plenty of movies have done it before, and this one I think just kind of got put into a spotlight where this Mad Max movie suddenly has this lead that's taken charge, and it's a woman, and it's not Mad Max. It's not anti-Semitic Mel Gibson. It's young Charlize Theron with a shaved head, or a buzzed head. And so I think it was very much in the spotlight. I think it killed it because, yeah, just as the movie plays on, like not only is Furiosa entirely capable, but the character of Max, he gives a lot of trust to her as well. There's a moment where he's trying to take this shot, shooting out the light on the bullet farmer, the scales of justice, as he calls himself. And unlike the last shot, Tom Hardy just gives the gun to her because he realizes he's not the better shot between the two of them. And like, that's it. Like, it's not worth talking about. Like, she's just better at it.
That is a great moment. I think you would make a good scales of justice guy. I think that could be you.
See, I don't know. Hold on. I know you're getting into a cool topic, and I don't want to make this about me. I don't want to go from feminism to which Mad Max guy am I? I don't think I am. I think he's a jerk. Hey, now, buddy.
We all know we want to be the guy who plays the guitar.
Dude, I think
yeah, we all know.
Yeah,
that might be the coolest thing ever put to film. Straight up.
Yeah.
So just to add more depth to that character, that thing he wears on his face, that's his mother's face. You learn that. Yeah, you learn that in some of the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, he wears his mother's face.
That's pretty metal. Yeah.
Yeah, I also
didn't need the information, but it was given to us.
I love the touch of the detail for his character to wear that big red onesie. It's such a standout, ridiculous look. It's just like, God, this is weird.
All he wants to do is play the guitar.
He just wants to shred.
That's all he wants to do. He does not care. Like, he gets because Dustin and I were watching it, and Max is like fighting him, and the guitar like flings out, and it comes back, and just starts shredding.
He starts playing again.
Starts playing again. Like, literally, just starts going right at it. Like, that's all he wants.
Yeah, I just want to thank George Miller for not only giving us that flaming guitar, but then including it in a fight scene. Just thank you. That's so cool.
Yeah, the touch of sound design in this movie to include the guitar in so many of the, as they're playing out the theme and whatnot, little bits of guitar riffs. Like, he's playing those guitar riffs, and that's what we're hearing when you're getting this big, huge long shot showing the different convoys driving across the desert. Like, as we go over that convoy of the Morton Joe, you can hear the guitar and the drums, and you keep going, and it fades away to the point that when Mad Max is punching on the guy and he's losing his guitar, like, he's like messing up the notes. Like, didn't need to happen. You did not need to put that in your movie, and you did, and you went so far as to just immerse both the design and the things happening.
Just a wonderful attention to detail. That's what this movie is. It's just, everything's in the details.
Yeah.
Every little thing is just like so thought out.
Yep.
Like, it's wonderful.
Even on the vehicles, like the part where they're all fighting for the vehicle right away, the war rig right away, Mad Max jumps in and drives off. The first thing that happens is you watch the water hose go underneath the wheels, and they could have edited it out, but you see it gets caught and it pops off. It doesn't break. It's like they added a little detail because they saw that would happen, and it makes sense for someone who's, in a wasteland like that, if something breaks, you have to fix it. So why not put something, if it accidentally gets pulled on, it just pops off so we can just slide it right back on. Like, the little tiny details like that you don't really notice the first watch through. You notice it on the 7th and 8th watch through. The little tiny details.
I do love that little bit of a detail to just, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I know I think every time I watch this movie, I've gone, hey, what's going to happen to the hose if he drives off and it pops off? And I like at the later on in the movie, their engine's overheating and they got to get the water from out of there, at least the mother's milk from out of there, and
Hmm.
they're having to use buckets instead of the hose to get it all over there. Like it's just like I don't know, very well thought out. No stones, any stones that are unturned, none of them are left unturned. They all get put right back to where they need to be as the script moves along. Um,
Hmm.
This movie is an absolute masterclass in visual storytelling. Like the
Hmm.
script doesn't have a ton of dialogue for a 2 hour long movie. And really the only expository scene is like maybe when they finally meet the like many mothers or whatever. Other than
Hmm.
that, George Miller's just showing everything to you. And it's up to
Hmm.
you if you're paying attention to it or not. Most people are because it's a badass movie. So
yeah,
yeah.
Me
I
and me and Cole were talking about that earlier. Is it's so good because like you just said, there's not a lot of dialogue, but there's the way that the actors like show their emotions in the scene, and they are those characters. And so it's like when they're scared or frustrated or whatever it is, you see it on their face. And I think the actors and actresses understood that there's not a lot of dialogue. You have to show the dialogue with your emotions, with your face, and it is a master class, like Noah said.
I yeah. Damn it! I just lost my train of thought. I wanted to add to that because Dustin, you're absolutely right the way you said all that. I guess something I can kind of jump over to a little bit. While yes, the script isn't really filled with a ton of details and it kind of lies on the shoulders of the actors just presenting it the best way they can. Something about the screenplay. This screenplay shares a little bit of a detail. It's not a spot-on detail for another movie. We just did a movie not too long ago that has a special technique in its screenplay. Can you guys think about what I'm talking about?
Technique.
Are you
No.
No,
talking
no.
for this movie? Are you talking about how it's like glitchy
No,
in
there's
certain
the
scenes?
screenplay itself shares a detail with Parasite. It's not a spot-on
Mm.
detail.
I wasn't on that episode, dumbass.
You
How was I
weren't?
supposed to guess that?
Shut up. Listen to the podcast. All right.
Dude, that was
Um,
like a week ago. Like I expect you to remember that. Like, come
all
on.
right. So halfway through Parasite, the script takes a very sudden turn into something else. About literally halfway through the writing, something happens, and it's gorgeous. You could make a painting out of it. Just incredible. This essentially a parallel of a perfect movie, middle of the movie, perfect movie, is something else happening. This movie isn't exactly spot on, but this movie has the first half of this movie is driving to get to what the green place. Get there, expository with the mothers explaining what's happened. Second half of the movie, getting back.
Yeah,
Like it's movies that do that are
yeah.
it's such a simple technique.
And I like for that first half of Car Chase, I didn't even like realize how long it was going on until it finally stops. And then
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my God, that was intense for like literally 33 minutes straight. You
Hmm.
finally get a breath.
Mhm. I think
There's
I was gonna say, I think something about this movie. I always know I do prefer the first half of this movie, and it's not because the second half is any bit worse than the first half, but I think it's that you do this hour long of this nonstop drive and chase, and not that we're exhausted, but like finally you stop and you just take a breath and you got to realize, like, Jesus God,
Yeah.
this is draining for these people, and then it's like, all right, let's do it again. Like, oh my God. So you got to get yourself right back into it.
yeah, I mean you get like a what is it, like 15, I mean it's like 45 minutes of action, 15-minute break, 45 minutes of action.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's so good. There's not a moment that you're not like on the edge of your seat. The music keeps you involved. Just everything is perfect. It's so good.
Something I remember, I'm trying to think of when I first watched this movie. I think I might have watched it for the first time in like Welsh's basement, like in 2016, 2017. The I think he was like, "Hey, I rented this movie, come over." So I was like, "Cool." The first fist fight scene, really big one between Nicholas Holt, Tom Hardy. Have we even dropped Nicholas Holt's name? Maybe we
I've
have.
been
No, not
waiting
yet.
Yeah,
with
hold on.
bated breath to talk about
We'll
Nicholas
quit baiting
Holt.
your
Nuts.
breath here. So Tom Hardy, Nicholas Holt release their own. They're all fighting over a gun. They're trying to get the upper hand. They're trying to get the war rig because
Yes.
they suddenly come to a stop. The choreography for this fight is ludicrous how well it's put together. It's this just big, I don't want to say macho, but just it's not even that it's choreographed like some beautiful sword play. Like it's this just fist, throwing body. Charlize Theron never like overuses her weight where it's unrealistic because she is still a very light person, just not having as much weight as big Tom Hardy, and yet it all plays out so well and so realistically. The sounds of these different hits, the inclusion of the failed, the shotgun that won't go off because it's lost its spark in there, to the point that finally Nicholas Hoult manages to slide the clip over for Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy manages to put the clip in the gun. Incredible that these two characters have this. That
Loads
is
the
visual
gun on his
representation.
foot.
That was
And
so
then
so
to get the
sick.
pop that just stops it
So
all.
good.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
cool.
I got chills thinking about that, and that's not a scene that should give you chills at all.
Or
Yeah.
how about just like as he's like trying to drink the water, get his chain cut, and she's just death glare at him the whole
Yeah.
not moving, just
Yeah.
biding her time until she knows she can go, and
I,
then just
included
boom
in that, yeah, is the
on.
moment where she tackles him into the sand and like it's the perfect moment. Like you can't
Mhm.
even see her because he's too big. She's got the chain up. She's trying to cut it. You can't see Shirley's run up. Suddenly she's just there. It's
Mhm.
gorgeous. This movie is it gives me the tickles. Now, Noah, you wanted to talk about young Nikki Holt.
So badly. Yeah. And we've talked about so much stuff we love, and he might be my favorite part of the movie. I think his character is so fascinating. And, Nicholas, we're in a Nicholas Holtessance right now, I would say. And with his recent performance in Nosferatu, and we watched that one Nick Cage Dracula movie he did, like now I finally get to return to like Fury Road, which is the place where I first saw him, and he's just doing really excellent work. He is fully committed to the War Boy, and it's a really sweet story. Like I am a guy that needs a little bit of heart to really fully love a movie. I need a little bit of that, and that's what he is. His story's sweet, and it's one
Mhm.
of redemption, and it's sad and badass. He has his freaking chrome spray paint, and the way Witness Me changes meaning for him at the start and at the end. Like, I just think Nux is a really, really cool character and is a really special part of the movie in addition to everything else we've already said. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of my favorite things about him is at the beginning he's obviously coated in white, because he's at the Citadel, and by the end, it's been so long that he's almost reverted back to his regular, normal skin color by the
Right.
end of the movie, which is like you just said, showing his progression from the beginning of the film to the end of the film.
Yeah.
He has three bigger moments with Morton Joe throughout the movie. The first one is where they're driving out in the war party, and Morton Joe looks at him, and Morton looks, and there's that like little bit of noise that goes on, and he's suddenly, he looked at me, and the other guy's trying to tell him like, no, he was looking at your
Flip.
blood bag, just trying to
Yeah.
dismiss it. Anyway,
Mhm.
so you got that, and then next up that they have really a look together is I don't know, just before halfway, Morton Joe gives him the gun and gives him the big speech about I will carry you to the gates of Valhalla myself, and throws him up on there. It's this huge moment, like God himself gave you wings, was like go save the day. Nicholas Holt makes two steps and then embarrasses himself and knocks off, and he gets called mediocre. To about the third time, finally, where finally they've engaged the convoys once more, and Morton looks back at there as Nicholas Holt's in the cabin. It's just it's a whole different animal suddenly. Like it doesn't matter. Like there's no weight to a Morton Joe for them.
There is a great scene, like because I agree the three big scenes, and I would say there's a fourth, because that third scene you're talking about when Immortan Joe is trying to drive in front of the war rig and looks at him, and he looks at him just like serious but also scared of seeing Immortan Joe. And then finally, he hears the word Immortan Joe is dead, and you can just see like it's like just pure shock of oh my god, he's actually dead. Like shock, but like almost like it is just shock. I wouldn't say there's happiness to it or anything. It's just whoa. I would say
Yeah.
that would be a fourth big moment because that's pretty much the end of his character arc is realizing, okay, he is dead.
Yeah, he doesn't really need a
I
Morton
don't have to
Joe.
follow him anymore.
Um, yeah, I had one more little something that you bringing up the death of Morton Joe, and then pretty soon after that, you get the death of Rictus. It rips off the big engine block, or at least the big open air filter. And something about the practical effects of this movie is the writing of how these machines work. In that at one point the War Rig's engine catches fire, and so to put it out, they close all the air filters so nothing can get in, and then immediately drop the front end so all the dirt gets pushed up and sand gets pushed up to snuff out the flames. Like, what the hell? They wrote in like character for an engine.
Yeah.
That
And,
was
and well, we could talk about the scene too where they're like two rigs side to side and like there's someone on each hood spitting gasoline into the engine to make
hmm
it go faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
hmm
how do you come up with that? That's crazy.
the when they're dropping sand on the engine to put out the fire, and then they get past the sand, they lift up the front, and it's like the engine breathe, like the thing is alive, it's
Yeah.
breathing, and you see it actually start to pick up speed again. It's starting to get away from the bikes, and it's like it's like the thing is alive. It is so good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just phenomenal.
hmm
I was I was been trying to find a good way to pop it in, but so there is especially right at the beginning when he's captured and he's trying to get away from all of the war boys. It's so choppy and fast, and I won't get the numbers right, but it's something like there's like 17 frames per second in a regular film, and George Martin chopped it down to like 14. So there's just that little bit of choppiness to it that I'm sure I got the numbers wrong, but it's
Hey, you were, I think you just rounded up. I think it's like 16 point something. It's like a very specific number of frames per second. It's like
mhm.
16.32 maybe.
But yeah, he chops it down a little bit just so it's like you can see the because at that moment Mad Max is crazy. He's just running on instinct, trying to get away, and it's but yeah, that choppiness of it. He uses it a few times in the beginning, at least when he's still crazy, and by the end, it's just smooth sailing, and Mad Max is no longer crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I
Just
went
a
to
good.
16. It's 24 frames per second, but yeah, no, that's all good.
I wasn't that far
No,
off.
that's all good. Fine. No, and Cole, you guys were smiling like dipshits. Why?
We're
Why?
just laughing
I
because he
saw
said
Noah's.
George Martin. It has
So
nothing to
George.
do with the numbers.
I didn't hear that.
It's
I
the
saw
Beatles
I saw
guy.
Noah I
The
saw Noah
elusive
trying to
George
laugh.
Miller.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I must have said something stupid.
No,
No, I was
that's our
like looking at
bad.
these guys like, guys,
That's
what the
our
hell?
bad.
I
Dustin's
was
Yeah.
like,
bringing up
damn, I
something
didn't
really
think I was
cool.
that stupid.
No.
I'm glad you mentioned it. After having watched the whole thing, I know right when we started, I was like, I should get my notebook out so I can write these thoughts down. And I didn't do it this time. Normally I always do it. I'm glad you brought it up because I totally was meant to write down, yeah, that opening where they're running through all that. Plus I don't know, it's just a really cool, tense way to open things up and just establish
hmm
how like these are the bad guys, get away from the bad guys is the goal, to where he gets out on that little hook and they're pulling him back in to get that like just shot of all the war boys pulling him in like they're zombies almost. It's
Yeah, talk about an opening scene from just
hmm
standing there to the point that like turns around, there's no noise, packs up all his stuff, drives away. Like he's got a inhuman sixth sense of danger, and then all of a sudden, all the cars drive by and you hear everything. Um, to like you just said, they're pulling him in like he's getting drug in by zombies. Like what a crazy like 5 minute opening scene. Super good.
That car is so awesome, and it sucks that it gets blown up in like
Yeah.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like such a
It's
sweet
a
car.
minute and 24 seconds of screen time for the car. Yeah.
Gets destroyed.
I'll say if there's one thing I like in a movie, it's when like there gets to be an established cool car and you get to go after the cool car. That happens in this movie sucks so much. It's like they could have even just destroyed it and then it's rebuilt in like 2 minutes later. But like, nope, it's over.
Comes
I
back and he's like, "That's my car" or whatever at the end.
I
That's my
I love
car.
how pissed he is. That's mine. Just just so angry that they
It's like
have his car.
it's like
Yeah.
Luke throwing away the lightsaber.
Yeah, it's just
Hmm.
like not quite right. I think about a made up movie moment is in Halloween 2018. Michael Myers had this cool motorcycle he was supposed to drive,
Oh
but
yeah.
we the fans never really got to see it.
I'm
Anyway,
still waiting on the payoff for that. I think it's coming. Yeah.
guys, what's scarier than big 6'5" Michael Myers in the white mask hiding around every corner?
7 foot 10, 400 pound stupid rictus maybe ripping engines
No,
out of
it's Michael
vehicles.
Myers,
It's
six foot
Michael on a
five, white mask on a
motorcycle.
motorcycle,
Yeah.
dude. Oh my God, it's evil. It'll never stop. And now it's driving at 60 miles per hour down the highway.
Not only can he catch you walking, he
He,
now can drive fast on a
yeah, he can
motorcycle.
drive fast.
Well, he was doing very well last night.
Yeah. I when I was writing my notes,
Evil dies tonight. You get run over.
um, what's the
Um,
name of what's the name of the main pregnant woman? What's her name?
No idea.
oh,
Her
Ang Herod?
well, it starts with
Splendid?
a P. Her Splendid. Splendid is her name.
Ang Herod?
Splendid.
Ang Herod is her name. Splendid is the nickname.
I wrote down notes. I had written her in instead of Splendid. I wrote Pleasance. I think I did that because of Donald Pleasance from Halloween.
You,
So,
so you know what's better? But so we know the one girl's name is Cheeto. You have Ang Herod, and then the girl with like the platinum blonde hair. I didn't know this until I was watching it today with the subtitles on. Her name is Toast.
in that?
No, not Splendid.
Yeah, yeah.
the
Her name is
yeah.
Toast, the other one. Wow, I did not know that.
I didn't know it until I saw the on the subtitles. Toast says this. I was like, huh. But it's funny that he's naming them after things that he probably loved about the old world, Cheetos and toast.
I yeah.
Okay.
Because you
And the
see,
thought of
like
being
when he's
splendid.
got when they put on his fake abs and all that, he's got like the literal like pop can cover or the pop bottle covers are metals. You
Hmm.
know,
I wanted to bring up again earlier. I had mentioned that UC Berkeley professor, Ms. Kristen Weisel. Anyway, another person in this little thing I saw was the Carsey Wolf Center director, Patrice Petro. I just got to bring this up. I don't mean to keep attacking these two people in this one interview I watched to try to get a good idea on the practical effects, but they talked about in the whole feminism aspect of these things. One of the things they brought up was the first shot we really get of the women together is this like porcelain perfect thin group of white women out. And I gotta say, Zoe Kravitz is
I
not
was
just a white woman, all right? She has a very famous black father. And I just want to say, you can't bend things on screen just to fit the narrative that you don't want. I just have to put that out there. You can't do that.
I feel like another part with the femininity is, like you have the many mothers, and they're not just there being pregnant. Like they are massacring Immortan Joe's men.
Hell
Like
yeah.
they destroy them. Like they
Mhm.
they don't stand a chance. Basic. I mean, it's 100 against 6, something like that. Whatever it is, and yes, it takes the combined effort of all of them. But still, I mean, they are very clearly the more skilled fighters in that fight.
Mhm.
They have the numbers, but they have the skill.
Yeah. I yeah, and I think it's all very like accurate as to who these people are because I mean once they all get together, it's not like suddenly Joe's what wives, I think that you maybe call them all the young women. I don't
The
think they're
breeders.
the breeders. Yeah, I don't think they're even thank you. I don't think they're they get to a little bit stronger when it comes to how to do things because like they've already been doing it for a while. It's not like they're just suddenly no, like they have a better idea and they're not just more capable, but they're more confident. They have more of a team. They feel better about it. But these other women that come along, the mothers of the green place, like they are like, yeah, they should know what they're doing, and they do. So when they show up, like it's very not even just this suddenly like, oh, these people, these new women know what they're doing in this movie where suddenly, women can do like no, they can do these things. They should be able to do these things, and they do them better than all these other bunch of fat hogs sitting in the Citadel not doing a whole lot. So I don't know. I think it's not only is it a good movie in terms of representing the obvious capabilities of people, but I think it writes it in there very successful, very well, very suave.
I like that they're not picking up guns and just picking people off and beating people in hand-to-hand combat because they've never done that. They have, like you said, they've sat in a citadel their entire life, trapped in that cell basically. So they shouldn't be able to be badass sharpshooters, but they can load weapons. They can help.
Yeah.
They're throwing the engine covers down. They're doing all the stuff that anyone could do. But I do like that they're not sniping people with the guns when they've probably never held one in their life. So I think they have written and played their characters well. They're strong, but they're not incredibly overpowered.
Yeah, like they do what they can do. Like they're not out of turn. Like, Immortan Joe is not reading Latin. Like that's not his character. And same as that Zoe Kravitz's character is not, one punching rictus. Like that's just not who these people are. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Another thing you talked about the action and the shooting of the guns. I really like I like how scarce the bullets can end up being, and I like how I love it when a movie sets a precedence of we have this many shots, because I know as an audience everybody counts them, and I know everybody gets pissed when when you got a revolver and you shoot 7 shots, end of the world for a movie. You shouldn't do that. But not only that, I like it when it gets brought up because I know when it gets brought up that bullets are a scarce thing. Every time a gun is fired, I know we all feel it where it's like, there's one. There's 2. There's 3. Uh-oh, we're running low. Like, we got to stop. How many more times are we going to do this? Every bullet suddenly becomes that much more special in an action moment. Yeah. But anyway, speaking of shooting bullets and running out, we are just about out of time here. So is there anything that we really got to get off our Immortan chests?
I'm just throughout this entire discussion, ever since we brought up George Lucas, I've just been imagining him directing this movie instead of George Miller. Just George Lucas, like in the desert or something, be like, "Yeah, you're gonna put the car over there."
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's asking for direction. He's like, "What do I do here?" He's like, "You're scared. you're scared."
Well, I think Immortan Joe should talk like this. No, actually, Yusa should do Immortan Josa like this sauce. I was actually, as soon as I gotta say, I've been fascinated. Well, I've been thinking about him as well ever since George Lucas' name got dropped. Why? Is there anything you guys do you think there's a world in which you could create Star Wars and then sell Star Wars entirely after like 40 years?
I think his intentions were pure with it. It's not his fault Disney fucked it up so bad,
Yeah.
Because I could see myself holding on to it till I was 70 some and then giving it to someone else. But
I think I'd rather, if I had the Halloween franchise, I would rather die, I think, than give it up.
Well, what if you were offered $4 billion?
I wouldn't need all that money. I don't need all that, but that's like somebody like, here's
I don't think it was
cars.
a money thing for George. I think he literally thought Disney would make more good movies for little kids to enjoy, and they did not do that. So, yeah.
Maybe one of these days we'll just do a breakdown of George Lucas. Well, okay, well, let's wrap it up. Are we done? Are we done? Anybody got anything else needs to be said?
I think the stash is a good look, Reed.
Thank you. When I start up my own bullet farm, I'm gonna remember that, man. I'm gonna remember you said that. You other guys,
Okay.
I'm looking at you. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Here we go. If you got a suggestion, leave a comment. And thanks for listening. I'll see you on the Fury Road. That was a whole episode of the Whole Other Podcast. It's over now. The podcast is done.